Hey, Dylan, just a quick question for you. Obviously at the end of last year, you were playing great basketball, heading into the tournament, then you end up with the injury. Just want to know from an on-court perspective, how closely do you feel you are to where you were at the end of last year? And then a quick follow-up after that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a good spot. Obviously we're in a little different spot than last year. I'm playing in a little bit of a different role. But I kind of put behind last year behind me a little bit. I feel really good right now. I feel like the team's in a good spot right now. We're trying to gel and learn how to play together and what is expected of us every night in order to win. So that's kind of what I'm focused on. I'm not really focused too much on myself.
And it's a quick follow-up, Dylan, what about Max defensively? It goes unnoticed.
His on ball, his ability to guard on ball, I think that's something that a lot of people questioned when he was coming here. He's a little bit smaller than most guards in the Big 12, but um, he's a pest on defense. I mean, he makes my life so much easier in the ball screen coverages and just keeping guys out of the paint in general. So I think that that's something that really goes unnoticed. It's just his ability to guard on ball.
Thomas Jones, please.
Dylan, good morning. Hey, man, your three-point shooting. I saw you at Hendrickson, and you took some three-point shots in high school. I'm, but not at this rate. I'm wondering how your approach to working on your three-point shooting specifically has kind of changed over the years. Like, is your form different? Is your approach to practice different when it comes to three-point shooting? How has that developed over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that I think I did shoot a little bit more than you might remember in high school. I made like almost 4 threes a game in high school my senior year, but I don't think anything's changed really. I think it's just like the level of confidence that RT and the coaching staff and my teammates have in me, and that the way that that's positively impacted my self-confidence and my ability to shoot, and just the work that I put in this summer, just shooting in the chair and then shooting before I could actually practice was something that I was really focusing on. And that's something that uh, is a little bit different right now. It's just the amount of, I would say, attention to detail in my shot that I put in this summer.
Corey Mose, please.
Yeah, what's up, D? On
Good.
that note, bro, when you talk about like that confidence level when it comes to your 3-point shot, I know over the summer when I was at your camp, you talked about you shot that way at Vanderbilt as well, your sophomore year. And so, confidence wise, do you feel like you're at a higher level than you were that year at Vanderbilt? Because it seems like you're shooting 56% from three. The results say you are. So,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel a little bit more confident even than I was at Vanderbilt. RT has put a lot of trust in me and encouraged me to shoot the ball. And that's something that um, a lot of people on the outside would overlook. But that does a lot for me, honestly. There's just the trust that he and my teammates have in my ability to shoot, gives me that much more confidence to take open shots and not turn any down.
and can I do a quick follow up, Scott? Just on that note, though, how does he instill that confidence? How does your teammates do that? Do they talk to you on the sidelines? Do they encourage you during practice? What is the way of encouraging you?
In the game, anytime I don't shoot, RT yells at me and tells me to shoot the ball. And then my teammates are just telling me to continue to shoot the ball. They tell me good shot even if I miss. So
Terry Middleton, please.
Dylan, so I'm curious, you didn't get to the spot of hitting these threes with without a lot of practice. How many, you stayed after practice to get some extra shots in. How many shots do you take in a normal practice to hit threes? And do you and Max work together? Because he's another 3-point dropper that just is incredible. So, yeah, I'm curious of what your methodology or how many shots you do to get into that groove of hitting them all the time.
yeah, so I mean, I can't tell you a specific amount in practice because every practice is different, depending on what we're working on, how much I'm practicing myself, and whatnot. But I would say that it more comes in the individual work. And I'll give you like an example of today's individual work. So today, or for the Houston game, they really close out hard, especially out of the pick and pops. And that's something I saw last game. So this week I'm really working on, instead of stepping in 1-2 on my shot, dropping into my shot quickly, because that allows me to get it off much quicker. So I did a lot of work on that today. I probably shot oh man, probably about 200 just right after practice. So that's just something, a little like kind of glimpse into like what I'm working on today to prepare for Saturday. So every individual workout, depending on who we're playing, is going to be a little bit different, depending on how they play the ball screens, what looks they're going to give me, and that kind of dictates what I work on.
Chip Brown, please.
Dylan, can you take us through the shooting from a chair? Was that your call? Was that the idea of the coaches? And were you going around the world, around the arc, or take us through that?
Yeah, so the shooting in the chair actually started like 3 or 4 weeks after the season ended. I didn't have my procedure until June, but with the injury that I had in the tournament, I wasn't really trying to. We didn't want to put a lot of weight on my foot and moving around. So we started about 3 or 4 weeks after the tournament. So that was about mid-April, and that ran up until the end of May, and then I had the procedure. So I guess it started in April, and that went all the way up until August. And so every day I would try to make at least 300. Depending, and if I wanted to shoot more, I would shoot more. But this would be, I would start at about like the charge circle, as close as I could get to the hoop without being under the hoop. And I'd make 50, move it back a little bit, make 50, move it back a little bit, make 50, all the way up until about the free throw line. And then that would be about 300. And then when I could finally stand, I was doing very similar, but a little bit, some small tweaks in there to the type of shots I was taking, and just shooting flat-footed free throws after that, and until I could finally jump again. And I don't think that was until September, October. About October, I could finally jump again, I think. So thousands of no jump shots, basically, all summer and into the fall.
And RT has said that, he, like you said, if you turn down a shot, he yells at you. So talk about your role on this team as a scorer and how you're looking to find your scoring in different ways.
Yeah, I think especially the last 2 games, I guess the last 3 halves, you could say, and in that Cincinnati game, especially too, I was extremely aggressive. Usually, I at the beginning, I feel like I've tried to kind of just find the flow of the game rather than be like super aggressive or thirsty to score off the rip of the game, because that's not kind of who I am, I feel like. But RT has really encouraged me to be aggressive and to shoot the ball when I'm open. And sometimes that first shot on the pick and pop is going to be the best shot we can get in a possession because of, one, how well I'm shooting the ball right now, and 2, how open it is because of how the defense is playing. So the last 3 halves or so, I've really been trying to be super aggressive to just score the ball first, and then when the defense takes something away, then we make the next play. So whenever we pick and pop and the defense full rotates, that's when Kendall gets a backdoor cut in the middle at the Big 12, like last game in the first half, or Tyrese gets a one more pass, and Jesse Edwards has to close out to him on the right wing in the second half of last game. So just things like that. Me being aggressive to score has opened up other things for my teammates. And so that's kind of the way I'm trying to look at it right now.
2 last ones in the queue. Joe Cook, go ahead, please, sir.
I know you don't get to watch a lot of the TV copy, but I know you get to meet with Fran Fraschilla, and he's kind of the one that talked a lot about that chair shooting storyline. So I'm wondering if you have some good stories from your meetings with Coach Fran and during your time here at Texas.
Yeah, he likes to talk about that one a lot. I've heard on TV. They tweet about it, talking about, oh, I haven't heard. They'd be sarcastic talking about, have y'all heard about the story about Dylan sitting in the chair? I think the Oklahoma broadcast, he talked about it a lot, and so I heard about it on Twitter a lot. But yeah, he's a really good guy. He just comes in and just he just asked me what I was working on in the summer, and he was here in the summer as well when I was shooting on the chair, and just starting to get back into standing up and things like that. So I don't have any like specific great stories. He kind of asked me about my stories and what I have been through, and then he kind of relays that to the people through the TV broadcast. So that's all I've got for you.
Roger Wallace, please.
Hey, Dylan, second time around with Houston. What's the challenge? I know getting off to a better start has to be a priority, but also you know what it's going to be like walking into that place, getting to host Texas for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting game. There'll be a lot of eyes on the game, of course. We're just looking to match their physicality, obviously. We can't go in there soft. We felt like we did a solid job of being physical for the most part of the game until the end of the game. They started to get us on the offensive glass, and that's kind of what helped them get the edge over us in the end. So we definitely want to be solid on the offensive glass or defensive glass for us. And play with physicality, the same type of physicality that we played with, but we need to play with it for 40 minutes this time.
Last one, Corey Mose, please.
Yeah, Dylan, I saw that Rodney Page came by practice the other day. What was it like just having a historical figure like him coming by it? And what did y'all talk about?
Yeah, he's a great speaker, honestly. I wasn't expecting the message to be conveyed in the way he did. It almost was like kind of like a pastor, in the way his cadence was. You'd have to go to a Baptist church to really understand that. But I really love the message that he conveyed, just about knowing who you are, and not letting other people define you was a big message that I came away with from meeting him. Yeah, so don't just not letting people define who you are, or else they can confine you.
Dylan, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Guys, we'll have Coach Terry here very quickly.
Thanks, Dylan.
Good afternoon, RT. Just want to ask you, you had said after last game that the start of the game was the best 4-minute stretch that you've seen from this team this year. Just wondering what specifically about that 4-minute stretch really stood out to you and made you kind of make that statement.
I thought we came out, Eric, and really set the tone with our energy and activity, and guys had a really good urgency about themselves on both the offense and defense. We were really dialed into the scouting report in terms of how we wanted to defend those guys, and I thought our guys got really lost playing really hard on defense, and we were able to get out and play in transition, and we shared the ball, we moved the ball didn't stick, and we got a chance to get some things done with our flow offense at a very high level.
Thomas Jones, please.
Coach, good morning. I kind of a two-part question. You're going to Houston this weekend. It's been a while since the Longhorns played in Houston in a conference game. You and Coach Barnes used to really recruit Houston heavily. How important is kind of reestablishing that recruiting pipeline to Houston? Is there a certain thing you like about Houston area players? And the second part, you played LSU in non-conference this year. Are you going to try to have a presence in Houston, non-conference moving forward?
Well, Thomas, I think we have a lot of respect for the University of Houston's program and Coach Sampson, and over the years, what he's been able to do, and in his career. I mean, he's obviously has had a great career and coaching in Big 12 previously at Oklahoma as well. He's built a really big time program at Houston. Over the years, we had a lot of success with guys from Houston. Number one players in the state, Daniel Gibson, Gary Johnson, Jacobin Brown was from that area and was one of the top players in the state. So Houston was always been, obviously I can't leave off TJ Ford. He said it and say RT, you didn't say TJ Ford. I was the one who started all this. But TJ, obviously made it cool for guys to want to come to Texas and stay at home. Because prior to that, a lot of guys were leaving the state and going all around the country to different programs. But he made it cool to stay here, and not only cool to stay here, but he excelled here at a very high level. And guys could see themselves being here without having to go across the country to North Carolina. They didn't have to go to Kentucky. They can get everything they wanted: big time basketball, big time college experience, live in a great city, and enjoying an incredible network of alumni, living alumni as well. So they can have it all. They can have it all here at Texas. And, Will we like to continue to play in Houston? Absolutely. I mean, we like to think that we can take our brand all around the state. And, obviously being there in Houston, a very fertile recruiting area every year that's going to have elite level players. We love for those guys to be able to see us up close in person.
Joe Cook, please.
Rodney, I know you get a chance to talk to Fran a lot in your prep for games, and I'm wondering if you have a good Fran Fraschilla story you can share.
A good Fran Fraschilla. You know what, man, Fran does an incredible job covering our league. When you talk about having guys that do a great job really promoting our league, he does it at an elite level and always has, and really has been a big reason why we've been able to get the exposure that we've been able to get over the years. Because again, he's a guy that's lived in the world that we live in terms of being a former coach, and so he understands what goes into games, in the preparation that you have to have night in and night out. But a funny story, I don't know, we both got a chance to work with Rick Barnes, and he's got some pretty good Rick Barnes stories, and I've got some pretty good Rick Barnes stories. And a lot of times we'll just kind of, cut up a lot about some of the stories off the record a little bit in terms of some things that we both encountered over the years with Rick, who is going to be in the Hall of Fame, by the way, at some point as well, and everything. But that would probably be the only thing I'd say we kind of cut up about. I'm trying to think off the cuff anything else that would just kind of be funny that I could throw out there. And I don't know. I just got a lot of respect for Fran and what he does for us and how he covers our league.
Chip Brown, please.
RT, Dylan was talking about, shooting from the chair after the season last year and all through to August. Can you talk about, what you saw from him in terms of that discipline and how that has benefited him this season, and how you're yelling at him all the time when he turns down a shot?
You know what? I think early on in the process, we knew he was going to be out for a while. And, having been a part of another similar process where a guy couldn't really move, and he was going to be restricted to just, being off his feet and still continue to work on his game. I quickly made a reference to LaMarcus Aldridge. We were here previously. LaMarcus had the hip injury and couldn't be on his feet, but we got a chance to really work on his shooting and his form and really break all that down for him. And, got a chance to shoot thousands of those from just sitting on the stool. And I referenced that to Dylan. I said, you could do the same thing. I said, worked out pretty good for that guy. I mean, he played 17 years and made $200 million playing a game of basketball, and he developed a shot that he didn't really have when he got to the University of Texas. He came in and he really didn't have that type of range. He didn't have that type of form. But give him credit with his work ethic, putting the time in to do it every day. He made himself a shot that made him millions. And I said, you could do the same thing, and we're going to expect you next year to make more threes for us than you did this previous year. So I think every day, you got to come in here, you got to sit on that stool, and you got to really groove your shot, really work on your mechanics, and put the time in. And then to his credit, every morning in the summer I would come in, he's in. Every afternoon I was getting ready to leave in the afternoon, he was in that back in the gym, back in that chair again. So he put the time in and he put the work in terms of really working on his mechanics and, really grooving his shot and feeling very confident. I think the second part of that, is, there are a lot of times that, he's a hard matchup. You put him in max and pick and roll action, you got to kind of pick your poison on how you want to guard the pick and roll. You either want to take the ball out of Max's hands and guard him really hard and leave Disu open for a wide open shot. It also helps that Disu can also slide in the post and get work done 15 feet in as well. So, he's one of those dual threat guys to where he can score inside out at a very high clip. But there are times in games when, he has an open shot, and we know he's going to get an open shot in the game because of the way they're playing the coverage of the pick and roll. And, we're like, I want you to shoot that first shot. That may be the best shot that we get this whole possession. You're open. Shoot the ball. We don't need you dribbling into their defense. take that shot. You worked on that shot. I want that shot.
Terry Middleton, please.
Coach, good afternoon. So, when we played Houston a couple weeks ago, they kind of honed in on one player, Max, and not necessarily shut him down, but just enough to take the game. After West Virginia, now they have to consider Disu and Tyrese and Dylan Mitchell and Max. How does that change the game for Saturday? And then if you could just share, going into this, how can we watch the game deeper from your perspective? What can we see that's going to happen that you're going to be calling the game maybe differently or that we could watch for?
Well, I think, Terry, one, we're playing against probably the best defense in college basketball. They play with a tremendous amount of energy and activity, and they make it really difficult for you to score the ball inside 15 feet because they bring up, we call it the monster. They bring a monster. They come and really trap you in the post really hard and try to keep you from scoring in the paint from a post feed. They do a great job with the pick and roll defense. They really try, take the ball out of your primary ball handler's hand, and in doing that, they try to cause deflections, they cause turnovers, try to speed you up, put the ball in somebody else's hands to try to score behind them. You really want to try to get up and down the floor and try to see if you if you can get ahead of their set defense. If you can get up and down the floor and try to beat their defense up the floor, you really want to try to get up the floor if you can. A lot of teams want to try to play fast in transition and not have to sit there and go against the 5-on-5 their entire time. But I think the thing that we really look at is as we're navigating through playing that type of defense, one, you're going to have to be very strong with the ball. You're going to have to make you don't have to play perfect, but you've got to make really good, simple decisions. I think you have to be, when you play a team that's as aggressive as Houston is, you have to be really sound fundamental in everything that you do. You got to be able to be strong and pass fake with the ball because they're getting their hands on balls all the time. And if you're casual and you're not locked in terms of taking care of the basketball, they will turn you over. So I think the thing that we look at, we'll be looking at in every 4 minutes, we'll look at, how much are we valuing taking care of the basketball? How many turnovers do we have, in every 4-minute segment? We'll look at second chance opportunities. Are we keeping them off the glass? They scored 19 points off second chance points, and it's a big part of what they do. They shoot the basketball and they go get it at a very high level. So it's going to be critical for us to try to keep those guys off the glass. They're elite at it. They're one of the best in the country at offensive rebounding. So we'll be looking at the offensive rebounding category as well, because that'll be a big part of the game. And I think another part of the game that people don't talk a whole lot about is that they really out-tough you to 50-50 balls. So, are we winning the game within the game in terms of, getting those loose balls? I mean, they do an incredible job getting to loose balls. So there'll be a number of different things that we'll be charting throughout every 4 minutes. And we call it the game within the game. And we like to try to be on the plus side more than the negative side in those 4-minute games.
Have time for the last three in the queue. Roger Wallace, please.
Hey, RT. I know you got a lot to play, but still, do you take time to look at the big picture? Guys, keep an eye on that. Kind of getting barraged here now as we get closer to March with all the projections. Can you afford to look at that at this point?
No, really, Roger. The only thing we can look at is a really good Houston team on their home court. One of the best teams in college basketball. I mean, top 3 team in the country. I think I haven't seen the polls where they were ranked this past week, but to me, in my mind, they're 1, 2, and 3 in the country. With the type of team that you're playing, then you talk about playing on their home court, where they have an incredible, home court there and stuff. So, we control what we can control in terms of what we do. We got to be able to go into this game and try to value taking care of the basketball and working this game for 40 minutes. I mean, it's going to be one of those games where, you got to be locked into everything that you need to do for this ball game. But that's been our approach all year long, though. It won't change. I mean, throughout the course of the remainder of the schedule, we've really instilled in our guys that we deal with what's in front of us right now. there's been parts of the season I couldn't tell you what our next game was or what the next couple games were, because you have to deal with what's in front of you. You control and live where your feet are. Everything else will take care of itself.
Corey Mose, please.
Yeah, Coach, just talking to Dylan, he said Ronnie Page spoke like an old school Baptist preacher. Hope he had his handkerchief to wipe off the sweat while he was talking. But what went through the process of getting Ronnie to practice, and how do you think your players resonated with this message?
Yeah, Corey, great question. I think, last year as we were making our run, through our conference play and into the NCAA tournament, I received an email from Rodney, and very, very nice complimentary email. And I quickly responded back to him and let him know how appreciative I was of him thinking of me and the support that he was giving myself at that time. And I was very well schooled with his story, being here before, in terms of who he was and the trailblazer that he was on this campus in terms of being the first African-American head coach in any sport on this campus. And also some of the struggles that he went through, to embark on his career here. I mean, he was on the starting front end of Title IX here. And he took a program that really didn't win a whole lot of games early. And when he left this last year, they were 21-7. So he built a really good foundation. He recruited the first African-American woman to play here college basketball. So I said to our guys, I saw him at a women's game. I think they were playing K-State. And I got a chance to see him, and I said, man, I really want you to come and talk to our guys. I would love for you to come in and share a great message with those guys. And he was like, Coach, I'd love to do it, and so we set aside a time for him to come and meet with our guys, and he had an incredible message yesterday. He kept all our guys on the edge of their seats, and they were very attentive, and I thought it was a message that was very well received from them, and I thought they got a chance to learn a lot about him, about being on this campus, how far we've grown and how far we've come, and I think it was just it was a great opportunity. I mean, also tying it into Black History Month as well, and getting them to also get a chance to have some history there in that regards as well. Nothing better than having history on your own campus and with someone that's here, that's a living legend. And we got a chance to have that experience yesterday.
Corey, any follow-up, or you good?
Yeah, you did say something that I was interested in talking about. You said when you got the email, you responded immediately. And so what did it mean to you to have someone that of a stature, and what all he went through, to reach out to you and compliment you for the work you've done? What did it mean to you personally?
Well, it meant a great deal for me personally, because, if there's no Rodney Page, there's no Rodney Terry. There's no Charlie Strong. There's no Shaka Smart, so, there's no Bev Carney. There's no Flo, so, we're always on the heels of other people that have again, like I said before, been a trailblazer, or I think Rodney called himself a pioneer yesterday in terms of his journey and his story, and, but having someone that has had a chance to be in your shoes and to have done it at a very good level here, and someone you have a lot of respect for, it really meant a great deal. I mean, Mac Brown reached out as well, and got a chance to interact with Coach Brown, and respect I have for him while he was here and what he was able to do here as well. So it's a good feeling to have great coaches that you have a lot of respect for reach out to you when you're right in the midst of your season.
Last quickie, Chip Brown, please.
RT on Dylan, he said his nature might be to get into a flow of a game, but he's said that his confidence has grown as you've encouraged him to be more aggressive. But just talk about his mindset and ability to turn it on like he has the last three halves. I mean, the 17 points in the final 8 minutes of the Iowa State game, and then what he did to start off, 8 of 8, 6 of 6 from 3 against West Virginia.
A lot of kudos to him in terms of staying locked in and really just staying engaged. I mean, because, Dylan's coming back from a very difficult injury, and Warren and Corey's done a great job managing him to this point right now, to where he's at. And we still have to manage him throughout the course of the week. He's not in on every rep in practice, and stuff. So, it takes a different mindset for him to really stay, locked in and sharp with everything. And again, sometimes that's why he starts games that way a little bit, because he's not in on every single rep, every day in practice. We have to really manage him the right way in terms of having him fresh and ready to go throughout the course of our games. And I think that's why sometimes he gets off to a little slower start as he gets his time and he gets going in the game. Then he picks up steam that he's ready to go a little bit. But some of that can be equated to not as much practice time as all the other players get on a regular basis.
Thank you, Goo. Appreciate RT. Thanks for your time. Media, thanks for your patience getting started. Appreciate it. Everybody have a good day.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.